Acquiring a private airline to accommodate an air emergency for an ailing patient in the Family Islands has become a common practice in the Bahamas for many years. But officials from the air ambulance services and local commercial airlines say it's a practice that can be very dangerous, especially if the private airline is not medically equipped and the pilot is inexperienced. I sat down with the director of the Air Ambulance Services, Jason Sweeting, and Sky Bahamas Captain Randy Butler to get their take on the issue and to also hear their concerns about the recent aviation tragedy in Mayaguana. Here's that story.
I don't think private airplanes should be involved with aeromedical transports.
Director of Operations and Chief Pilot of the Air Ambulance Services, Jason Sweeting, making it clear that private airlines should not assume this responsibility because they lack the necessary medical resources. Mr. Sweeting believes the certified expertise of his medical flight services team played a very critical role in airlifting that patient involved in the Mayaguana aviation tragedy to the capital for further medical care.
Ambulance. We have a team of highly trained professionals on board our airplanes, which are dedicated air ambulance equipment. And that includes doctors, nurses, paramedics, EMTs, and of course the pilots. And they're all trained in aeromedical transport. So there's no reason why not to use us to be able to do whatever emergency that may arise.
On average, AAAS flight services respond to one call per day and have given medical assistance to thousands of patients over the past 14 years. Just this past Saturday, 2 patients from Freeport had to be airlifted to the capital on one of the 2 B-200 aircrafts in its fleet.
We have dispatchers who take the calls, and we also have a medical director who's informed of the condition of the patient, and the medical director determines how the aircraft will be staffed with doctors, nurses, or paramedics based on the nature of the case. And from there, we have a response time that we meet, as well as including adding that to the flying time. And that gives you the time of what time you'll be able to expect to pick up the patient.
But he is not the only pilot speaking out. CEO of Sky Bahamas Captain Randy Butler maintains private airline pilots that are not properly trained should not play the hero when perform a medical emergency, especially if the airport lacks the appropriate navigational resources or is not in compliance with safety standards. Captain Butler reasoned why his airline does not perform such tasks.
Well, Sky Bahamas is basically a scheduled airline. The size of our airplanes don't give to that. That's number one, because normally when you have an emergency, it's 1 or 2 persons. So we have big airplanes, and there's a whole lot more to mobilize us to go into those places. So it's just off the table for us. It's not something we could do.
Even though air ambulance transportation is an expensive exercise, Sweeting can't put a price on saving someone's life.